Wednesday evening, everyone. I'm Carrie. This is Student Loan Chit-Chat. Thank you so much for spending part of your Wednesday evening with me. All right. If this is your first time on this channel, we welcome you to our bedtime chit-chat story time family. We sit around and we listen to Dave Ramsey telephone calls, past, present, and future. We believe we can learn anything from just about every call. So if this is your first time with us, welcome to our evening chit-chat family. If you are returning, you know you already are family. Get your tea. Kick up your feet. Let's take a look at what we're listening to tonight. So I owe the IRS $60,000. Now this is 2 years ago, but because it is IRS season, I think it's appropriate that I bring you reminders as to why it is so important to pay your taxes. So if for any reason you're like, oh, I really don't feel like paying my taxes, or I'm going to pay them late, or I don't feel like paying them at all, I don't feel like filing. Oh, I hope this will help change your mind. So I'm just here to help keep that pressure on those who think they're gonna delay their taxes, and I say don't delay. So let's find out what's going on. And again, thank you for spending part of your evening with me. Let's hit it.
Sherry's in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Hi, Sherry. How are you?
Hi there, Dave, Christy. Thank you so much for taking my phone call. How are you?
Oh, and another happy call from someone who apparently owes the IRS. People always sound so cheerful.
Better than I deserve. How can we help?
Yes, I was calling because my husband and I, we make $152,000 a year. We have.
I gotta stop here. Now, of course, you can always watch it uninterrupted. The link to the show is in the description box. $152,000 a year. I don't understand how it is that people make in that bracket and apparently owe the IRS. I'm willing to bet there might be some self-employment involved. But even if you're self-employed, see, I'm the type that if I'm self-employed, I'm going to overpay the IRS. As you already know, if you've watched this channel, I always overpay the IRS. It's just my way of savings. I like it. I've been doing it for decades like that, and I'm probably never going to stop.
We're in baby step 2, so we have $13,000 left for a car note. And then I have a $42,000 IRS bill that I pay $532 a month towards.
$42,000. How do you get into $42,000 of IRS debt? How do people do this? And it says she owes almost 60, so unless that's a typo. How do people get into $42,000? Do people simply wake up and go, screw it, I'm just not paying the IRS. I'm just not going to pay them. I don't understand it. And I've been in relationships where people have not paid the IRS. I didn't understand it then. I don't understand it now. I will never understand it.
For 2020, we did our taxes, and I got another $16,000 added to that bill.
Yes. So she owed 42, plus she gets another 16. This means they're living too high on the hog. If you already have a $42,000 tax bill, it would seem to me that something in the brain would click and go, you know, we're taking home too much money. We're taking home way too much. So we need to start putting stuff aside. For all the people that may, criticize and say, their goal is to get to exactly a zero bill. Hey, have at it. It's like my goal was to get to above an 800 credit score. It was just a game. I mean, it was literally just a game for me to get above 800 credit score, which, as you know, I accomplished. All right. And it maintains at well above 800, somewhere around the 812 range. Okay. I am sure for some people, it's just a game to see if they can hit zero owed. And that game is fine. So long as if you owe money, you have it to pay immediately, and it does not put the family budget at harm. I don't play that game, so to speak, of, can I get my taxes to exactly zero? Leave me out. You can leave me out for the rest of my life. It's just something I don't do. That's just my personal choice. But to those who love doing that, and I know for some people it's highly entertaining, go for it. As long as you know you've got the money to pay the taxes, should you owe. I'll just never understand how people, in this dollar figure, I can understand, $1,000, $2,000 off. I will even go up to, let's say, $5,000 off. Okay? And then immediately paid. You're $5,000 short, pay the bill. But I don't understand when it starts hitting these double digits. You know, we owe 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. It means you're taking home way too much. And you can't tell me you don't know.
But I did take the reset. I attended that, and you said to identify the big bad wolf. And for me, that
the big bad wolf is you're not taking enough out of your pay. I'm willing to bet they're self-employed, because I think when you are self-employed, it's very tempting not to pay the IRS because you have so many other bills to pay. Self-employment is never as easy as it seems. It never is.
was the IRS, so I did start this year the estimated tax payments to them, so I won't have that issue anymore.
Technically, I don't think you should have had the issue to begin with. Like I've said on this channel, the IRS is just, I mean, if you've watched the Ramsey show, even the Ramsey show will tell you, halt, freeze. Number one goal, pay off the IRS. And the interesting part is, I don't think it's really that hard to figure out. Even if you go, well, my income adjusts up and down, fine. 20% of every check you ever take in, every dime, every dollar, send it, put it into a savings account or give it to the IRS. I think what it is, I'm just going to give you my hunch, okay, from my own experience. I think I've never owed the IRS, but I think what it is I'm willing to bet they're self-employed. And even if they're not I'm pretty much willing to bet they are, because W-2 employees, they pretty much take that out. But even if they don't, all right, and you know you've made a bunch of extra money maybe on the side above and beyond from your W-2, a W-2 employee of course being someone who works for someone else. I think what happens is that people are trying to do other things with the money. And so they're trying to kind of manipulate it. And that manipulation game doesn't work. It's like, well, I know I owe, $100 of this check to the IRS, but I really would rather take the $100 and do something else with it. And I'll pay back that $100 later. I think there's a lot of manipulation, because otherwise I really can't understand why somebody would ever get to a tax bill that's beyond just a few thousand. And she says it's the big bad wolf. Well, everybody thinks the tax bill is the big bad wolf, but we know it exists. We know it's there. We know it's huffing and puffing and trying to blow our house down, right?
After 2020.
So you have $100,000 in IRS debt?
No. It is
42 plus 60?
16.
42 plus 16, 1/6.
Oh, 16.
Not that it makes me sleep any better at night. Oh, no, Dave, it's not a $100,000 IRS bill. It's a $60,000 IRS bill. Either way, it sucks. Although I'd still rather have 60 than 100.
Okay,
Yes.
I feel a little better. I'm still can't breathe, but I feel better.
There you go. Exactly. It's better, but it still sucks. It's kind of like, what would you rather have, a shot in the abdomen or a shot in the shoulder? I'd rather have a shot in the shoulder. Thank you very much. Okay, it still sucks.
Okay.
Yes, okay. Yeah. When
So
you said
58
50,
on the
I kinda
IRS
lost
and
my
13 on a car. All right, I'm with you.
I bet they paid the car note, kept that up to date.
Okay, and I have $7,000 in the emergency fund, which I know it should only be $1,000. So the reason why
You don't have $7,000 in emergency fund. You have zero in emergency fund because you owe it to the IRS.
we have that is because we're down to one car, but I've been able to work with that because I see my clients tele or Zoom, and if I need to see them when I have the car Thursdays and Fridays, I'll use the car. So that's $6,000 extra. I want to know, should I leave it there, or should I put it towards that $13,000 to bring it down to $7,000, which is a number I like a lot better, or should I put it towards that new $16,000 IRS bill to bring down?
I can see why this woman can't keep a budget. I now understand. She wants to pay on the things that she finds valuable and fun. The car, it'd be nice to take that down to $7,000. Okay, that's good to pay down. But she doesn't have a savings account. When you owe the IRS, you do not have a savings account.
That down to 10, because I wasn't sure if the IRS bill should be in a category by itself in the sense of urgency to get rid of it.
Yes, get rid of it.
When was the 16? When is it due? Is it from the filing you're getting ready to do? from 2020.
Yes, because I filed, and I owe 16 for 2020.
You've already filed.
I can pretty much tell you this is 2 years ago. She still owes.
Yes.
Before you had to.
Yes, because I knew I was going to owe because my husband, when we looked at his W-2, they only took out $380 for the whole year, so we knew we were going to be kind of messed up. So I wanted to...
Her husband has a W-2 and they only took out $380 for the whole year. They weren't taking out taxes for him. And if they knew this, then guess what they should have been doing? They should have been holding aside the money themselves. It really takes discipline. Hold on. It really takes discipline to receive a check and know it's not all yours. It really does. I'm slow as molasses cashing my checks now. I've had a $50 Geico check sitting on my counter now for probably almost a month, at least 3 weeks. Okay? But that's money they gave back to me. But when you owe money, unless you have really good financial discipline, it's really hard to go, oh, we have a check. Let's see. She said they owe 42. They basically owe 60. That means he was getting pretty healthy checks. She said they make 152,000. So they were getting these checks and they were just cashing it. And then people always sound so surprised when they owe the IRS. It's like, we just can't believe it. And now we're on a payment plan. You didn't have to be on a payment plan. When you got that big ass check towards your $150,000 family take home income, you should have immediately said, oh, you know what? They only took out $10 for taxes. I think we should take out another 25%. That's what I would have done. But that takes financial discipline. A lot of people don't have that. I didn't have that for years.
See how messed up I was going to be and start planning to pay
Yeah, you
them.
could have done it all and not filed it, though. Because you made the taxes due when you filed it. They weren't due until, well, it'd be next week anyway. But
I think when you owe 42,000, what's another 16 on top of it about the due date?
oh, jeez. Well, your penalties and interest on that 16 are going to be mammoth. I generally put the IRS at the top of the list. In this case, I'd put the 16 IRS at the top of your debt snowball, and I would attack it with a vengeance. And let's get rid of it before it starts getting... If you can get that cleared up within 90 days, and you should be able to by putting this 6 towards it, or 7 towards it, then you get that out of your life. Then we'll go and knock out the car. Then we'll go and knock out the last IRS one because you've got it on a payment plan. But you're...
People, was this all avoidable? Was this just something that kind of fell in their lap that they had no knowledge about? If she said they only took out $400 for taxes, then those paychecks they were getting, did they not look at the stub? Were they in denial? See, what's happening here is what we see when denial becomes reality. This is what we see. I know as a teacher, if I knew that my taxes were not being taken out, I knew they were not being taken out, every paycheck I got, I'd be holding on to 25%. Okay? I'd be holding on to 25%, like discipline. That's just the way I am. Even with a part-time job, which modifies my taxes a little bit, I make sure I overpay. I sleep much better at night. This whole financial fiasco was totally avoidable.
You're getting hammered by these people with penalties and with taxes. So we generally put the IRS at the top. In this case...
Yeah, that's the other thing. You get hammered with penalties and all of that. So you're really saving any? And I don't know who it was in the family that said, hey, let's not pay our taxes. I'll just never understand it. I think this is one area I will understand car repossessions. I'll understand foreclosures. I'll understand getting a job, messing it up, not being able to keep the job. I can understand lots of, financial mishaps. I don't think I will ever understand not paying one's taxes. And again, I'm not talking about the people who pay their taxes. They may be, a couple $1,000s short and they just simply, write a check for that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who wind up with these big, big tax bills that you darn well know, these big checks that they darn well know the taxes aren't being taken out of. And like I said, I think it's because it's trying to manipulate the system. There's one system I do not wish to ever manipulate, and that is the IRS. You hand me a check, I know or I suspect that taxes are going to go towards it. And if they ever give me a form that says how much do you want held, I typically will put around 40%. Oh, but Carrie, you don't need to put down 40%. You know, you could take that money and invest it. I don't give a rip. I'm going to tell them to hold on to 40% because I know darn good well that's more than enough. I will take whatever they give me back at the end of the season. I don't have that. That's me. And anything that I could make investing is pennies on the dollar. All right. So, but that's just me. This type of stuff is from financial mismanagement. This was not accidental, even though she sounds all cheery about it. No, this was financial mismanagement. A lot of denial as the money came rolling in.
Case I would put the 16 at the top because, as you said, the urgency.
Yes. Okay. I will do that.
Now, you have corrected all of this. There's no more tax problems.
I sat with my tax guy, and he told me exactly how much I need to be putting away, towards them. I did my first one in April, so they got paid. I did my state and my city all the time, estimated. They were small, but I don't know. That one scripture, I love the scriptures, but when it said give Caesar what due Caesar, I felt they were getting too much, but then I don't want to have to pay at the end of the year, it was like I'm doing now. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
like
you don't want to be penalized. You're going to be penalized if you don't pay the proper amount of, and you're going to get hit with interest on these as well when you don't pay the proper amount of quarterly estimates, and you haven't been doing it for a while.
Right, because they didn't want to. It was a personal choice not to do it. They can't say they didn't know that this existed. Impossible. It was a choice. It was a choice to sit and go, we don't want to pay our quarterly taxes.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're paying, this is not about, this is more like, if you want a scripture, be diligent to know the state of your flocks and herds, which means get your act together.
I like it.
That means get your act together. You need to start paying the proper taxes at the proper time. No more, but no less.
All right, folks, I'm going to take that and I'm going to end this right here. I hope this motivated some of you to get those taxes done on time. And like I said, I will never, ever understand people who intentionally don't pay their taxes. I didn't get it yesterday. I don't get it today. It's the one area of money I don't understand. But that's all right. I'm Carrie. This is Student Loan Chit-Chat. I would like to thank you for joining me this Wednesday evening for our little bedtime chit-chat story time. I do hope you will consider subscribing, and people, you have yourself a most awesome rest of your Wednesday night. Bye.